Welcome back. Senators who want to leave the world's greatest deliberative body to become become governors, rather. It's becoming a thing. Michael Bennet leaving the Senate for Colorado. Marsha Blackburn today announcing in Tennessee. Add to that Tommy Tuberville in Alabama. Joining me to discuss this and much more in the political space, congressional reporter for NOTUS, that's News of the U.S., Daniella Diaz, and national politics reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester. Great to have you here.
Good to see you.
Marsha Blackburn heading to Tennessee. Probably definitely eyeing a Trump endorsement and has to be considered the odds-on favorite.
Absolutely. She is definitely seen as someone who's a very faithful supporter of Donald Trump in the Senate. And
she was an early Tea Party person, which was the precursor to Trump.
Exactly. And she was in the House.
Right.
She was a House member before she became a senator. And it does look likely that she will earn his endorsement. To me, though, Major, I think it's just very interesting, as you noted in this intro, that it seems like there's a lot of senators eyeing the exits for state positions because the Senate seems to not be the best place to be working lately. And they think maybe being the top official in their state could be a better position for them, considering what this year has looked like.
And Julia, both Tommy Tuberville, Republican in Alabama, and now Marsha Blackburn said it's important as President Trump devolves power to the states to have MAGA governors push that forward. So they're seeing, well, I've done my work in D.C. Now the power is shifting back to my state, and I want to be there as a MAGA representative, as governor.
Absolutely, and you're also seeing this take place in the House. You have Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who is running for South Carolina governor. You have Byron Donalds, congressman from Florida, running for Florida governor.
Saying much the same thing.
Very much. It's particularly Byron Donalds, someone who got the Trump endorsement before he even jumped into that race. A lot of questions as to whether he'll face a challenge from Florida First Lady Casey DeSantis. We'll see. But Nancy Mace, that'll be an interesting race to watch because that's a crowded Republican primary in South Carolina. Right now, it seems like it's between her as well as the attorney general in that state. Also, a number of state lawmakers. Congressman Ralph Norman is running, so definitely a primary to watch.
I want to catch you up on something the president just said at the White House. He said there's, quote, a good chance of a meeting in the not too distant future between Vladimir Putin, him, and Vladimir Zelensky. We don't know the exact sequencing, but it seems, Daniella, something kind of shifted in the last couple of days, and it's now coming to the surface now.
Right. It looked for a long time that it didn't seem like Putin wanted to be in these negotiations between Zelensky and Trump. And you could see that Trump was incredibly frustrated because when he was campaigning, he said, I could fix this. I'm going to be the deal maker. I'm going to be the one to solve this problem. And as we've seen over the last couple of months, it's easier said than done. So potentially something has changed. This is good news for the front between Russia and Ukraine and the war that's been happening in Ukraine. But of course, we've seen this happen before. We've seen in very public stages, Trump meet with Zelensky, have, tough conversations there with Putin behind closed doors, rehash some of the conversations there. So we'll have to see what happens. But I believe that a lot of lawmakers are very, very optimistic that something can come out of this.
Julia, I want to talk to you about something we don't have formally on the Takeout, not yet at least. We don't have a Ruben Ggo watch, but maybe we ought to develop one because not only is he going to Iowa, he's written an op-ed in the Des Moines Register talking to Iowans about Democrats. I'm fighting for a future, he says, where every Iowan gets the same shot I did and better, and I'm not afraid to name names or speak hard truths. The only place he hasn't been on the primary calendar is South Carolina. I'm sure that's coming, but New Hampshire, Iowa, he'll probably head to Nevada. It's nearby in Arizona. There's something going on here.
Absolutely, and he's put out also a number of slickly produced videos kind of teasing this upcoming trip to Iowa. But look, this is Ruben Ggo doing what a number of Democrats are doing right now, dipping his toes in this 2028 pond, trying to test the temperature of where Democratic voters are in early Democratic primary and caucus states. Now, Iowa is interesting for Ruben Ggo, and you're seeing a lot of Republicans point this out today. Ruben Ggo was very critical of the Iowa caucuses in 2020. Obviously, that was a very big debacle for Iowa Democrats. Republicans very much trying to bring that to the forefront today. House Republicans, Senate Republicans. So maybe some backlash there.
What I'm interested also in, Danielle, is how much, if at all, those who are dipping their toes in these Democratic 2028 waters are weighing in on Texas redistricting and the battle therein. Obviously, Gavin Newsom is all in California, but others, obviously J.B. Pritzker is. But Gallego's not saying a whole lot about that. Others aren't. It's curious.
It is interesting and definitely a political choice, right? I mean, Gallego fastens himself as a more moderate Democrat. That could be intentional for him to instead be using his message, his appearances in Iowa and New Hampshire to speak more against the Republican One Big Beautiful Bill that just passed a couple of weeks ago. But it's interesting that you're watching J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom really fight against what's happening in Texas, seeing that as a winning issue potentially in their own states where they're trying to counter that.
And to be fair to Senator Gallego and anyone else who's not a governor, they don't have a ability to weigh in, whereas Governor Pritzker and Governor Newsom, especially Governor Newsom, very well might. Daniella Diaz, over here, Guy? Oh, number 2. Okay, Daniella Diaz, she's over there. Julia Manchester, I'm right here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.